If you're using or considering using Ozempic and other GLP-1 agonists, this video is for you. We're going to go over the 5 most common mistakes people make when taking Ozempic and most importantly, how to avoid them. But before we begin, do me a quick favor and hit the like button down below and subscribe only if you find value in this video. We talk about all things skin, hair, and health, and if that's something you're into, consider subscribing to stay up to date with new weekly videos. Now, I already made a video on Ozempic here with 1 million views that I encourage you to watch next. We've also made videos on the best foods to eat with Ozempic and did a video on Mounjaro, Saxenda, and retatrutide, the newest GLP-1 agonist that is said to be released sometime in 2026, which is going to be a lot more powerful when it comes to trimming the waistline. And with all these GLP-1 agonists and their rising popularity, and what I mean by rising popularity, look at this chart. Last year, we were doing about 3 to 4 million prescriptions, and this number is set to grow as 1 in 8 Americans are said to have taken them. You want to make sure that you avoid these 5 most common mistakes people make on them, starting with the first one being not using the right dose. A lot of people make that error of jumping into the treatment at too high of a dose or not titrating it up correctly. This is because they may feel too excited to start or want rapid results. GLP-1s need to be introduced to your system gradually. Don't ignore the prescribed dosing instructions that were tailored for you. For most cases, at least with Semaglutide, it's 0.25 milligrams once a week for the first 4 weeks. This will help give your body a chance to get used to the medicine. But what happens if you take more than your prescribed dose? Well, you end up nauseated with acid reflux. Your bowels may start gurgling and acting up. Your appetite can decrease so significantly that you feel fatigued. You don't want that because remember, one of the 3 ways it works is by slowing down gastric emptying, meaning it slows the movement of food from the stomach to the small intestine, and jumping to a higher dose too quickly can overwhelm the digestive system. The second mistake is ignoring the side effects. Ozempic can cause a range of side effects, especially when you first start taking it. Common ones include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and stomach pain. Some people power through these without letting their doctor know. Now, your doctor will want to do frequent checkups with you when you're on GLP-1s. This schedule varies from person to person, but it's usually a check-in every 3 months and lab work every 6 months to see if you're on the right track. This would be a good time to bring up any of those side effects because they can show you some strategies to minimize the discomfort and, of course, the most talked about side effect being the face changes that occur on it, called Ozempic face. Take a look at some that may have been affected. Although this is not an established side effect pertaining to it, it is a side effect of rapid weight loss in general. Ozempic does not specifically target facial fat. Changes to your facial appearance are just incidental, which should just be another reminder. The goal isn't to speed up the results, it's to optimize healthy gradual changes versus rapid ones, especially if you're older and have less collagen and elastin in the face. The third mistake is not eating enough protein. Here's the thing. If you lose weight but lose too much muscle, you can actually end up with a higher body fat percentage after weight loss. And a systematic review from this year actually supports this because it was found that Semaglutide, the generic version, was highly effective at lowering body weight but also caused noteworthy decreases in lean body mass. That's why it's critical to get enough protein to maintain skeletal muscle because protein is the building block for muscle repair and growth. You need to preserve your lean muscle mass as much as you can as you age. And while individual protein needs vary, the general current RDA recommendation for the average adult is at least 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So for example, a person weighing 220 pounds would need to consume at least 80 grams of protein per day. And of course, weight training exercises will support preserving your lean muscle mass too. The fourth mistake is expecting fast results or stopping too early. Whether you're taking semaglutide for diabetes management or weight loss, it takes time for the effects to kick in. Some people get discouraged after the first few weeks when they don't see drastic changes and consider stopping the medication prematurely. Remember, sustainable results take time, so don't lose hope if you don't see immediate changes because remember, slow and steady wins the race for this one. Some don't even notice any changes until after 4 weeks. There were even some trials of semaglutide that showed that people without diabetes are likely to lose more weight than those with diabetes, and that non-responders usually had other conditions that were going on at the same time. Although there's no crystal ball to see at what week you'll see the biggest improvement, because everyone will respond differently, especially if one person is on Mounjaro and another is on Ozempic or Wegovy. Results will be different for each of these. But if you're really wanting to know a date, significant changes are usually seen by the 8th week of treatment. And lastly, the 5th mistake is eating greasy foods. GLP-1 agonists slow down how fast your stomach empties, right? So you will feel full for longer because it will also slow down how fast you consume calories. And if your diet is full of greasy or high-fat foods, you may experience indigestion, nausea, vomiting, or heartburn because the food is now sitting in your stomach for longer periods of time. Oftentimes, we give ourselves a pass because we rely on these treatments to do all the heavy lifting for us. For example, in this picture here, no one is standing in line for lifestyle changes because it's more uncomfortable to change a habit. But habit change is going to be essential for avoiding the number one concern with these treatments, which is regaining the weight back when you finish. Does this actually happen? Do you regain the weight back? From the step 1 trial, actually 1 year after withdrawal of once weekly subcutaneous semaglutide 2.4 milligrams and lifestyle intervention, participants regained 2/3 of their prior weight loss. Now, of course, that's a bummer. This stresses the importance of going back and waiting in this line once the treatment is over. Habit change is going to be key. And if you have any tips for this, please leave them in the comments below and share what has helped you guys.